What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, I wanted to do something a little bit different, as I kind of want to stray away from just being a Call of Duty channel, because realistically, COD recently has been pretty fucking stale. You guys have noticed it's hard to come up with ideas realistically for a game that doesn't want to be made. But a game like Battlefield, that's what we're talking about. So currently you're seeing Battlefield 4 footage in the background on, I think, Hammerhead is the map. I don't quite remember. It was in the final stand, I believe. But it's also going to go into my first part of the wish list for this game, that for Battlefield 6 that I want it to be a modern day game. Now, most likely it will be a modern day Battlefield. Most people know this and think this, mainly because why wouldn't it be? You know? Battlefield hasn't been a modern game, like modern set time, pretty much, since 2015 with Battlefield Hardline. Now, the last game that was like a war setting was Battlefield 4 in 2013, which got its final DLC in, I think, like 2016, which I think was Dragon Valley, I believe. That's 5 years ago now, was the last time we've had a modern day Battlefield. Since then, games like Squad have appeared, in which those games are modern day games that are similar to Battlefield, that do big team combat with vehicles better than Battlefield has done in the recent years, because it's not modern. Now, that's one of the biggest things I want to see in the next game. Number 2 on this is Gunsmith from Medal of Honor / Modern Warfare 2019. Now, many people don't know this. Medal of Honor Warfighter had a very similar weapon class setup where you could customize pretty much every part of your rifle, any part of it in the game, just like Modern Warfare. There's a bunch of scopes, there's a bunch of things. I want to make my gun my own, whether it's super realistic or not. You know, it's a video game. It doesn't need to be. Granted, I play Battlefield for the big battles and realistic, but if I want to play a game that's like Battlefield that's fully pretty much realism, I'll go play Squad. Now, granted, that doesn't mean Battlefield has to stray away from being a realistical first-person shooter. They can have a bunch of things in it that are fun and intriguing for the weapons that are real. That's something that you could always do. One of the other parts about this, with that Gunsmith, leads straight into classes. So for number 3 on the classes, I want 4 classes to return: Assault, Engineer, Support, and Recon. I want the exact Battlefield 4 setup. I feel like Assault and Engineer need to be separate. Assault should be the Medic class. You can keep Medic and leave that name, but don't make the Engineer class have, like, med kits and whatnot. Make it the exact original things from Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. They work fine, and they work well in conjunction with everything else in the game, and I think it'd be best. Medal of Honor did a very similar thing with Medal of Honor Warfighter. I thought it was genius back then, and I still to this day think it is a genius idea to do. Another part to that is make classes meaningful in Battlefield, in the game. Don't make it where one person is a medic that can pretty much do everything that an engineer can with destroying a tank. Battlefield 1 made this mistake where you could have an anti-tank grenade on any fucking class you wanted, and it made you a mini engineer pretty much, or mini anti-tank. You could do whatever you wanted. You could destroy tanks as a medic. It's a sniper. Now, granted, I do like that recons have C4 in Battlefield 4, and that was always cool because you had to get up close and personal, same with a grenade. But it's just not what Battlefield was at that point. And a lot of people, I didn't like it, and a lot of people I know didn't like it. Number 4 on this list is class variety specific weapons. I like how weapons can be used across class, such as the carbine in Battlefield 4, shotguns and DMRs. The only ones that were specific were LMGs, were the assault rifles to the medic or assault class, the carbines, the PDWs to the engineer class, the LMGs to the support class, and sniper rifles to the recon class. But you had those 3 others. The carbines were specific to any class in specific. The shotguns were class in specific, and so were DMRs. I think it is a genius idea to keep this system, but alleviate some of it. Now, what I mean by this is make it where any class can have a PDW at any time. I think Battlefield 3 did that best, where I can run any class with any weapon. Also, make the M4A1 a weapon again. Now, granted, you have the M4 in a game like Battlefield 4, but in Battlefield 3 and 4, it was a burst weapon. But in Battlefield 3, the M16A3 was a fully automatic rifle that I miss in Battlefield. Because it feels like you have to run the M416, which is a Spec Ops weapon. It is a Navy SEAL style rifle, made for them pretty much. It was used in the Bin Laden raid. No. While that is a realistic rifle, it's not the way I want it set up, at least in Battlefield 4. Now granted, if you go back to the gunsmith idea, it could exist really well and work fine. Because it could just be there. It wouldn't take very much to add with the gunsmith if you pretty much just take Modern Warfare system and just bring it right over. I think it'd be really smart. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, there is going to be a link to a video in the description to what it is, to the style of what it was. It's very similar to Modern Warfare. Basically take Modern Warfare's gunsmith and put it in any other game. I think that gunsmith idea is genius. Now, leading into number 5 is going to be the maps. So, classes need to be able to work on every single map. Now, if you're wondering what I mean by this, one class shouldn't outperform the other on one map specifically. Now, a map like Operation Metro or Operation Locker, that's fine. That's an LMG SMG haven. That is fine to have. It also has a carbine section. You can use shotguns on that map, LMGs, carbines, assault rifles in that middle side, in that inside, but you could have snipers on the outside. On Metro, you could realistically not have those, really, unless you were playing Rush, and then you could. On Battlefield 3. That is something that I think needs to be back. Maps need to be for every single weapon. A map like Karg Island was perfect in my opinion. That was in Battlefield 3. Now, going back to maps, I also want to see a few older maps return. I want to see Karg Island definitely return. I also want to see Caspian Border return again. I love that map. It is smart. I'd love to see the Battlefield 3 version. I think the Battlefield 3 version was the best. It was bright, colorful, beautiful, whatnot. BF4 wasn't bad, but BF3 just had the best flow for that map, in my opinion. I'd love to see Operation Firestorm return. Gulf of Oman without the sandstorm, please. I want to see the Strike at Karkand come back from Battlefield 3, and I also believe it was in Battlefield 2 as well. I'd love to see that map come back into the next game. Another map I would love to see return is Domovan Peak. That base jump on Rush can't be beat. It was such a great moment in Battlefield, and I think that's smart. Now, you're also obviously going to need new maps. Now, obviously with a modern day setting, there's only so much you could do. Now, granted, please, I would love them to follow the Modern Warfare trope, like, road of going to the Middle East. Now, I'm not meaning go, like, Middle East, Iraq, Afghanistan. You can have those maps. But you also want to go a little bit into Russia and whatnot, with the battles, like, the Russia versus China, or China versus US. I don't want to see no desert-y style maps. Like, we're still, those you could have as a conflict. In Modern Warfare, I wish there were more ground war maps like Anaya Palace. I thought that was a great map. I thought the setting was cool, and I think it'd be awesome. Another thing that'd be really cool in Battlefield for a map is a 500 player battle. It's one mode. It's 250 versus 250. It is a giant map. Like, I mean, maybe even like, almost like the Warzone map size. Where it's Conquest, or even Rush, or even Operations making a return would be cool. On a giant map that incorporates everything. Where the matches last hours on end. Where there's a few maps made for that mode specifically. I think it would do perfect. You could have a little itty bitty village, mountains, maybe even maybe a gigantic city map. Where the outskirts you can go to, like where a beach maybe is, or maybe that side. You can do a bunch of really cool ideas for maps for this game. This game, it needs to be huge. Now granted, apparently there is rumored to be a 64 versus 64 player battles, so 128 players isn't a bad bet, but I just feel like a Warzone sized map that's full multiplayer, you have all the vehicles, I feel that would do really well in Battlefield personally. As we haven't seen a really big map. I'm pretty sure there have been bigger maps since, but there was a map in Armored Kill, I believe. It was the biggest map yet. Multiple mini little birds on one side. You could have these big engagements, and I wish that would return in Battlefield. So make sure those are all good. Make sure the maps are well thought out for every single class, that they're well worked, that they work well in the setting, and that they make sense in where they're set. I don't want to go into a game, have a map that is set. Now granted, Battlefield 4, I love you. Propaganda, you're a great map. But it has nothing to do with the story. North Korea is nowhere in the story, but the game takes place in Pyongyang, North Korea. And it's one big weird thing, but that's besides the point. Final Stand was great. Another thing I would love to see from maps is night maps. Utilize night vision goggles. Battlefield, I know you can do it. You had night vision goggles in Battlefield Hardline. Just bring those back as quad nods. They're badass. I think they would be so cool. So awesome. I think they'd work really well in the game. With night maps. Siege of Shanghai Night never released. But we did have night operations on Graveyard Shift or Zavad 311, which was that pretty much nighttime map that everyone liked. Moving into game modes, I want to see Rushmaker return. Conquest is obviously going to be there. Another mode is operations. I don't want to see grand operations from Battlefield 5. I want to see the original from Battlefield 1. I want to see that come back. I'd also love to see, now this is a mode that I think a lot of people didn't like, but I loved, was Blood Money from Battlefield Hardline. Now Battlefield Hardline was an interesting game, but I loved Blood Money. I wish that would return in some sort of way. Maybe you're stealing intel from another team or something, from a place, from them or something, or something. Maybe every time you get a kill or whatever, or something, or heist could come back as an intel steal. They were all cool modes that have never made a return. Another mode that needs to come back, and I thought it was genius, goes on the maps, is the Close Quarters DLC from Battlefield 3. It was some of the most fun I've had on a game in a long time. Bring back Gunmaster. Make sure that is there at release, where it is in its full form, dedicated maps to that. That's not just smaller down version of Conquest maps. Make a whole other Close Quarters DLC. I don't even care. That was such a good one in Battlefield 3. Introduced a bunch of new weapons, a bunch of things for the modes. Now there's also a bunch of other staple Battlefield modes that people are going to want, such as probably Diffuse. A lot of people loved playing, I know. Another one is TDM. That'll probably come back. Domination will probably come back. I don't remember what it was where one team has all the flags already captured. It's in Battlefield 5, but I don't like that mode personally. I didn't ever get around to enjoying it. But that's that mode. I didn't really like that. But I do think that this next Battlefield has a ton of potential to be the biggest one yet. I think if this game can nail all the points on that list, I think it can finally outperform Call of Duty. Now, it needs a Battle Royale. Now, do what Warzone did. Make it a free-to-play Battle Royale with certain vehicles, no tanks, none of that. Because you don't really want tanks in a BR because it's just not going to work really well. Full gunsmith. You could have loadouts if you wanted, where you could pick up your class. Just take Battlefield's elements, put it in a BR, and I think it would work really well. Or you could even strip those and just do a basic first-person shooter style BR. But it needs to be fluid. Warzone isn't going to be stopped anytime soon. But as of today, pretty much, they stated multiplayer for Call of Duty is not going to get very much attention. Take that and kill it. Kill Call of Duty's multiplayer. I hate saying that, because I'm a big Call of Duty guy. I love multiplayer for Call of Duty. But if they're not going to focus on it, Battlefield, you sure as hell need to fucking focus on it. Because that is the only way you will succeed. But anyway, I want to know what you guys think about this. I know this video was a pretty long one, so I'm hoping it was a little interesting and pretty good, well thought. Remember, I'm trying to branch out a little bit. I will have a Zombies Firebase Z review out on Sunday. And I will have another Battlefield 4 video here on next Tuesday. Next Tuesday after this video goes live. And it's going to be a pretty good one too. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, please let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you are brand spanking new. We are so close to 300 subscribers on YouTube. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.